Central Ohio's primary election is in the books. Voters approved a statewide bond issue to improve infrastructure, while school levies saw mixed results tonight. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us for NBC4 at 11. I'm Colleen Marshall.
Hello to you. I'm Carrie Charles. We have team coverage on the big issues throughout Central Ohio. We will begin with the Marysville Schools levy.
Yeah, that levy comfortably passed tonight, an effort that's been years in the making. It could have led to significant changes in the district.
NBC4's Delaney Ruth is live in Marysville tonight with reaction from community members. Delaney, what are you hearing?
Hey, Colleen, Carrie. Marysville voters decided to pass tonight's levy, and people I talked to are very excited and emotional about this. The district says this was needed to keep up with their day-to-day operations. This was the third time that Marysville put a levy on the ballot, both in 2023 and 2024. It failed, so parents I talked to tell me third time must have been the charm. Tonight's passage of the $5.5 million levy means Marysville schools will get around $6.8 million in revenue each year. Homeowners will pay $192.50 for every $100,000 of their home's assessed value. The money from the taxpayers will allow the district to keep 30 staff positions, AP courses, the district's theater program, and art and physical education classes for elementary students. People who were advocating for the passage of this levy say they are excited and they were emotional after hearing it did pass.
I don't know that anybody realized the ramifications of it until now, and yeah, they showed up, so we're so proud.
Our kids are going to get a lot of the electives and the arts that they were going to lose. Now those are going to be there for them again next year, so it's a huge win.
Well, with the passage of this levy, the district says they can now get resource officers back in school buildings, and they will also be able to significantly decrease their pay-to-play fees. Local for you in Marysville, I'm Delaney Ruth, NBC4.
Delaney, thanks. We want to take a look at two other school funding issues, and we've just learned the levy for Groveport-Madison schools has failed with 68% of the vote. Now, the bond issue would have generated $77.2 million to build 3 new middle schools and expand Groveport-Madison High School. The bond initially failed in November.
Voters in Southwest Licking schools shut down a bond issue that would have funded a new middle school, an expansion to the high school, and construction of a new athletic center. More than 60% of voters were against that bond.
And the only statewide issue on the ballot, Ohio voters approved continued funding for the state's infrastructure projects. The $2.5 billion bond issue will fund road and bridge improvements, wastewater treatment plants, and other projects. NBC4 State House reporter Natalie Fahmy has been following issue 2. She is live tonight with reaction. Natalie.
Carrie, it's not entirely shocking that issue 2 passed with overwhelming support. It's been in front of voters several other times since 1987 and has gone through each time. Now, not too much changes with issue 2's passage. It just extends the already existing State Capital Improvement Program, or SCIP, for another 10 years. The SCIP authorizes the use of bonds to give money directly to local governments for infrastructure projects. The big difference this time compared to the last 4 votes is the price tag. In 2014, voters approved $2 billion in bond spending for local infrastructure projects. This year, it's $2.5 billion instead. Those behind it say the $500 million increase was to make up for inflation. There was not an organized coalition against this issue, and the president of the County Engineers Association of Ohio, Scott Coleman, tells me the money is worth it to ensure local roads, bridges, sewer, and water lines are all intact.
I'm very excited, and our whole team is very excited. We're glad that the voters came out and realized that this is an important issue for all of the state. And a lot of projects would not have been constructed if it had not passed.
Voters won't be asked about this program again for another decade. Now, again, all this money is going to go towards local projects, and Coleman tells me most of it goes directly into construction costs. He says there's very little overhead under this program. Local for you at the State House, I'm Natalie Fahmy, NBC4.
Natalie, thanks. Columbus City Schools saw a packed race of 10 school board candidates. 3 board members whose terms expire this year are not seeking re-election. And tonight it appears Antoinette Miranda, Patrick Katzenmeyer, Jermaine Kennedy, Munir Lynch, Janice Keys, and Kimberly Mason will face all 4 of those seats in the November election. 1
seat is up for grabs on Columbus City Council. 3 candidates were vying for the District 7 spot. 2 of them move on to the general election in November, and it looks like that's going to be Jesse Vogel and Tiara Ross. NBC4's Kyle Beach following this council race very closely tonight. I know you spoke with all 3 candidates during their final push. What can you tell us right now, Kyle?
Colleen, the race for a seat at the council here at City Hall is apparently over for now, but really it's just begun for Tiara Ross and Jesse Vogel as they set their sights on November. Ross and Vogel each pulling in about 40% of the vote tonight, and Kate Curry D'Souza, the 3rd candidate, pulling in about 20% of the vote. When I talked to all 3 earlier today, they were spending time at polling locations. They were talking to voters, trying to make every vote and every minute count. They knew how important each vote is, especially during a primary election when they told me they expected only about a 10% voter turnout. I caught up with both Ross and Vogel tonight as they were surrounded by friends, family, and supporters.
We are a city that cares. Columbus cares. Yes. I care. Yeah. Let's bring community back. Let's bring unity back to community. Yeah. Right. Let's bring neighbor back to our neighborhoods.
We're really focused on continuing to build on the work we've done. You know, we've had dozens of people showing up to help us knock thousands of doors. We've had hundreds of residents of Columbus, more than any other candidate combined, chip in to help fund this campaign.
Now, I thought it was interesting. One of the phrases that I heard from both of them tonight was the idea of doubling down. Both of them saying they want to double down and prepare this campaign as they set their sights on November and they square off for 1 seat here at City Hall. Local for you in Columbus, I'm Kyle Beachy, NBC4.
And we will be following that race. Thank you so much. People in the city of Athens voted against an income tax hike. The mayor said the increase would have provided funds for police and fire, street improvements, and general operations. 57% of voters voted against the increase.
Vice President J.D. Vance's half-brother, Corey Bowman, has placed 2nd in the primary for Cincinnati mayor, and he will face the incumbent Democrat in that race, Aftab Puraval, in the fall. Bowman is a 36-year-old pastor and coffee shop owner who says he wants to improve his city, not get involved in national politics. He's never held public office, but says his half-brother's inauguration inspired him to enter politics. Incumbent Mayor Puraval placed first in that 3-way race. That's a nonpartisan contest. He won the heavily Democratic city's 2021 mayor's race with nearly 66% of the vote. He is a former special assistant U.S. attorney, a congressional candidate, and the Hamilton County Clerk of Courts. You can see the results from all 145 races we were tracking across Central Ohio and the state. You can find them at NBC4i.com/election.